everybody, and welcome to Never Seen It. When you hear the music, that means it's time for another episode of your favorite podcast with your favorite podcast hosts. My name is Trent. I'm sitting here with Betsy.
For the rest of this episode, you can call me the Suck Zone. That sounds way dirtier than I expected it to.
Mrs. Suck Zone. I am the real Suck Zone, Bessie.
Yes, welcome to the Suck Zone.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, we're just going to start off with a bang then. Welcome to another episode of Never Seen It. This is a really exciting episode for both of us because, holy shit, we're about to go and watch a movie that is a follow-up to a movie from our childhood that we absolutely adore. We're going to go and watch Twisters today. And if you haven't been paying attention, over on our Patreon that we love to bring up all the time here.
As one is supposed to do when one has such a thing.
Exactly. We covered the original Twister this month on our Patreon, which you can go and listen to a preview of if you haven't seen it in your podcast feed yet. We put up a little preview from that episode on the free feed.
Because we're so excited to talk about Twisters. We needed you to hear how excited we are about Twister.
Yes, we absolutely love that movie, Betsy. And if you want to hear about the entire thing, go sign up for Patreon. You'll hear all about it later on in the episode. But Twisters is the name of the movie we're about to see today. Betsy, I said it before, I'm very excited, but what can you tell me about this follow-up, this sequel? What is this?
So this strikes me as one of those, it is a continuation, it has an S on it, but I don't know that this movie has anything really to do with the first one. If it's I always kind of assumed if they made a sequel, it would be Joe's daughter. It'd be like Joe and Bill's daughter.
Right.
When they grow up, and now they're doing this too. The sense I'm getting is that isn't the case. However, there are through lines from the original movie. Like there is this kind of wild man with a cowboy hat played by Glenn Powell, who's out there, psyching everybody up about chasing tornadoes. Then you've also got this girl who seems reluctant to be there. So they're kind of flipping the roles a little bit. And she is played by Daisy Edgar Jones. I know that they've got the Dorothy mechanism.
Yeah, there's some kind of device that they're using to study tornadoes.
And it's whether or not the events of the first movie actually happened, or this is in a lot of ways a spiritual reboot where they are launching Dorothy for the first time and trying to figure out how to make it work.
Right, or they're trying to figure out something different. Now, I'm in the same boat as you. I really don't think that there's going to be a lot of references to the original movie. And I'm going to keep on saying original one, not the first one, because I do not believe in any way this is a sequel. I believe this is more a reimagining of this concept almost 30 years later. Now, am I going to be very surprised and pleased if they're going to throw in some references? Are we going to have another Suck Zone scene? I would love to know this.
Is there going to be any kind of cameo from the first movie? Somehow, we're only a couple days into people watching this movie, and I've thus far managed to quickly scroll by anything related to Twisters online.
I'm not seeing any of that stuff. I haven't seen any reviews of it other than I saw one thing where somebody was saying it's not the original, but it doesn't have to be. Something to that effect.
It's all positive. What I'm hearing is mostly, if not all, positive.
Okay, I lied. I did actually hear something negative. And
I don't want to hear about it.
No. It's not actually about the movie. It is the fact that, okay, we're having this thing about this inclement weather and whatever the fuck else, but nobody in the movie mentions the term climate change. And Betsy and I are not climate deniers or anything like that, but that's not why you're coming to this movie for. If you want a movie like that, go and watch An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore. That's really what you're looking for here. I'm coming to this movie for a fucking ride.
I want to have my big, stupid summer blockbuster. You and I have really not had one that we have been super excited about in a number of years.
Not like this, because the ones that we go after are, like, we saw Top Gun Maverick a couple of years ago.
But we saw it in September.
We saw it way late.
Yeah.
We saw the Fast and Furious movie in May. That's not really a summer movie.
No, we did Barbenheimer, but we separated it out. We didn't do them back to back, and we did them like weeks after they opened. So like,
Sure.
we were excited for these movies. We enjoyed these movies, but we didn't make an event out of it. This is a fucking event for us.
We are actually going to see this movie the weekend it opens. We never do that.
If you've been paying attention to the entire premise of this show, we're not people who go opening weekend to very many movies.
No, and there are people out there who have probably already seen this movie 5 times by the time this episode comes out anyway, because this episode comes out the week after. You know, because we like to plan things very well.
But here's the thing. Bless them. I love that for them.
Fine, great. I'm happy.
If I had the time, not even having seen this, I'd go see this 5 times.
Well, I don't know,
literally,
though.
I don't have any reason to say that. I have not watched this movie other than blind faith and childhood nostalgia.
Okay, this is what I have here. I have blind faith in Glenn Powell. Because
hell yes.
That's really what I'm hearing here. If I'm hearing anything else, it is that he is really the person that you're coming to this movie for. This other chick, I've never even heard of her outside of this movie. What else has she done?
Off the top of my head, I have no idea. I know
There you
the
go.
name. I definitely know I've seen her in something.
You watch a lot of British stuff, and I know she's a Brit.
Yeah, I don't have any context for who she is other than I know her name. So apologies to the Daisy Edgar Jones fanatics. She's not on my radar as much as other people, but Glenn Powell is a fucking star. And people have been trying to tell everybody this for years, and it just has taken until now for it to be a Glenn Powell summer where we're getting a number of his projects all out at the same time, and people are finally recognizing this guy's got it.
I think you're right. And this other chick remains to be seen. Maybe she's going to be on everybody's radar again, but all things are pointing towards Glenn Powell being the star of this movie. Now, I don't really have much else to say about this. I'm hoping that it is going to be a wholly original thing. I'm hoping that we're going to have it not be this big old CG fest. I know they filmed it on location in Oklahoma. That is very important in my opinion. And I hope that we have the same kind of Midwest down-home attitude that the original movie had in spades. And believe me, if you really want to hear Betsy and I go off about being from the Midwest, go and listen to the Patreon episode about Twister. We get very, very Midwest in that episode, and we had a great time.
Oh, and listen, it could very well happen again today. So ready yourselves, guys.
Here we go. We're going to go and watch Twisters in the theater for 2024. We will be right back. And we are back. Betsy and I have successfully traversed the suck zone and returned to you to react to Twisters. Betsy, what did you think?
I'm having a lovely evening. I'm genuinely giddy after watching that movie because the wait was worth it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy this movie worked. I would have been so upset if it was bad, and it wasn't bad. I loved this. This was so fun.
Yeah, and it's basically everything that I wanted it to be. I wanted them to have a wholly original story that wasn't hampered by anything from the past whatsoever, save for a few references here and there, but they made it their own. They had their own story, and it was fantastic.
Trent, this is how you do a reboot. This is how you do it, where you have the knowing things hidden in plain sight for the people who are familiar with the source material, but you don't get so hung up on that you make it all about, oh, well, how do we shove another reference in here? How do we shove another reference? And they just overload the movie. This movie is so lean with references, but at the same time packed with references from the 1996 original. It's such a great balance. It is so fun. I'm so excited to talk about this movie.
And at no time was it distracting.
No.
Like, there were times where I was like elbowing Betsy in the theater saying, hey, it's this, or hey, it's that.
Yeah.
But that was it. They didn't dwell on it. They didn't put it in your face. A lot of times, I don't even know if they knew what they were referencing, but it was in there. At the very least, it was evocative of the feeling I had the first times I watched the original movie. And I am so happy. I am satisfied. I don't know how else to say it. I'm satisfied with the effort. I'm satisfied with the feeling of everything. And in my mind, as they were going through the beats of the movie, I was reminding myself of the beats of the original Twister. And I feel like it's also a movie, and there is a specific way that you should really structure a movie and pace a movie and things like that. But because I've seen the original Twister so many times, I kind of know the beats of that movie very, very well. And I feel like they just kind of use that as a rubric and just follow that.
But also, even if that means the movie felt predictable because you've seen that movie so many times, like at the beginning, we're setting it up. It's like, well, this is going to end badly.
This is going to go bad because you have to have the origin story of why this person is obsessed.
We need the motivation, and this is where it comes from. And in my brain, it's like, okay, so her boyfriend's going to die, right? I was not expecting...
She's way too happy.
I was not expecting her entire team to get wiped out in the first few minutes of the movie. That was way more trauma than I was ready for.
Betsy, there's so many people who get sucked up into these tornadoes in the entirety of this movie.
If there is one major difference between the 1996 movie and this movie, it is the number of bodies that go flying through the air.
Death. Hot death. Holy shit.
Frequent intervals, people were being thrown into the air. Way more than the original. And I think it's simply because they had the technology. They could.
Yeah, they could. And it's just realistic. Like, if you are not careful and you are not following the laws of physics as spelled out in this movie, like when they go into the fucking pool, you're gonna get sucked up into the suck zone.
Yeah. I love that they said it. They said the words.
They said it.
They did it.
It was one of those just kind of tossed off lines when they're in the big truck and he just says, we're in the suck zone.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, we're in the suck zone. Like you're in the no passing zone on the highway. It's just like a normal thing.
There's just no signs because it moves. The suck zone moves. It's subject to change.
Okay, so as long as we've already referenced the beginning of the movie, there are, I believe, the most references in this first part, in the 5 years ago part where she's in college.
It's basically like they're saying, listen, guys, we know why you're here for this movie. We understand you are going to be looking for these references. So we're going to get them out of the way at the beginning, the big one, and then we're not going to talk about it again. So Dorothy, the machine from the first movie, is in this movie. And she is accurate to the time, meaning she's an old piece of shit. She is a hunk of junk, an antique from 30 years ago that their underfunded department has given them to use.
Okay, Betsy, on our way back home here, after seeing the movie, I said, oh man, I just had a realization here and I can't wait to tell you. So in the original movie, they were going after grant money and they were gonna work in a lab. And who has a lab, Betsy, but the local college in Oklahoma, where they're gonna set up all this stuff after they get all their data. Betsy, that is a Dorothy that Joe used, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Well, and this one was labeled number 5. In the original movie, there were four of them,
right?
And they're all destroyed. But this one was number 5.
And
meaning,
after 4, they didn't need to have them anymore.
But meaning the work went on. The work went on.
They made another one. They upgraded their from their pop can, their soda can things. They upgraded their lift capabilities and made another one. And they just haven't had a use for it because they get all that data 30 years ago.
Or they have used it, but they don't use it in the same way or something.
They don't drive it in there with a fucking truck.
No, but they give it to you right away. And I love that you are already extrapolating how this world connects to that first one, because There really are no other through lines. There's no cameos. There's no names.
Nope.
As I expected, this girl is absolutely unrelated in any way to the original characters in the first one.
No, but she certainly picked up her fashion sense.
She did. There are some straight up copy paste costume choices. And I think it's funny because we have entered this era where we're cycling back around
To
and
90s fashion.
The 90s fashion is back in style, so it doesn't even feel unusual that she's dressed this way.
You know me. I don't notice fashion like
It's
this.
also classic choices. Like what she is wearing is not that out there. It doesn't have a place in time.
No,
It's just a tank top and khakis.
But it is evocative of the first movie because Helen Hunt wearing that white tank top and the fucking overalls, she's wearing the exact same thing in this movie.
But again, it's 2024, and yet that's how people dress now, I guess.
Whatever.
What do I know? I just wear the same clothes until they come back around again.
Right. And I don't know whether or not this is another reference, but when they're all in the car, all these students are in the car, Kate gets a phone call from her mom on the cell phone. And there's a reference here to, okay, kids, whenever you're done, come back and we can have barbecue.
Yep. What, did you see my cows out front? Oh, no. Oh.
There's cows. There's cows.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a couple things. It's definitely a subtle reference to that. It's also just, this is what it's like when you grow up in that part of the country. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody calls you friend, as the song says.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just going to be inviting all of her friends over for dinner. That's just what moms do.
Sure. And of course, the thing that we mentioned happens here. Almost the entire crew gets sucked up by this damn tornado. They were out there trying to do an experiment with this chemical that she concocted and theorized that, okay, if you throw enough of this chemical into the tornado, it is going to absorb the moisture in the air so that the tornado no longer has, or not even just the tornado, but the storm itself loses power, loses whatever. Like all the juices in the air get sucked out into the chemicals.
Yeah, it's all about fronts. There's cold fronts and warm fronts and air, high pressure systems colliding with low pressure. And, there's a lot of factors that go into the tornado. And her thing, I like that it's a unique idea. It's just this chemical composition, and it's just some scientific mumbo jumbo that sounds accurate. I'm sure it is in no way accurate.
I have no idea.
I don't care.
I'm looking forward to Neil deGrasse Tyson coming out and just saying this is completely complete bullshit.
But she's gonna put like a polymer that is found in diapers that is absorbent.
Yeah.
It is a water absorber, and they're gonna shoot it up to break it down. And in the beginning of this movie, when it doesn't work, I'm like, holy shit. Did they make the tornado worse?
That's kind of what I thought.
Did they create the monster?
Like they thought it was going to be a very tiny one that they can kill.
They can control.
Yeah.
The hubris of man.
But no, they put it out there. It sucks it all up. And oh shit, you can't actually see anything. It's again, going back to what we said in the Patreon episode. This is kind of a horror movie because you can't see the monster.
You're inside of it. It's so big. It's so menacing. You don't know where it is.
Well,
you don't know what's going to happen.
You can't see it through the rain, and all of a sudden you can see stuff in the background getting completely wiped out, and they realize, oh shit, this is fucking huge. We're not getting the little tiny ones here and there at the beginning of the movie. No, the female protagonist needs to see tragedy in front of her befallen by an F5 tornado.
Now, here's something I had forgotten about. In this movie, they refer to it as EF.
Yes, EF is the proper term.
I forgot that they changed that. Did they not? Isn't that something that is more recent in the scientific community?
Yes.
When in 96 it was F and now it's EF. Do you know what that means? Because I don't know what it means.
Basically, they changed the scale. It is an enhanced Fujita scale. That's the E. So it is just I think now they have an EF0, whereas before it was just 1 through 5.
Okay, so it's more like a 0 to a 1 as opposed to a solid, and there's more nuance.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and credit Bill and Joe from the first one, and their scientific discovery is what led to that in this universe.
Sure, why not?
That's my interpretation. But they did use that, and I had kind of forgotten they made that change. But I remember when they came out saying, oh, yeah, we call it this now. If you really, again, I'm going to keep saying this throughout the episode. If you have not listened to our episode over on Patreon, that's patreon.com/neverseenitpod. Really, I encourage you to do it because we go full Midwest and it's coming out of me again. I feel it. So correct me if I'm wrong. In a tornado, like they are out on the highway and they're driving towards an overpass. There's a bridge there.
Yep.
And she yells something about, that's a terrible place to go.
Yeah.
But
I think they do some correction here of, the common knowledge.
that's what I'm trying to figure out is our common knowledge accurate or not? Because the thing I remember is if you find yourself in this situation where you don't have shelter, you're supposed to just lay down in a ditch.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get as low to the ground as you possibly can get.
Correct.
So why the hell are they all going for the bridge?
There's nothing else.
There's a ditch
really nothing
there.
else.
You get on the ground. We talked about it at length in that episode. It's not the winds that kill you, it's the fucking debris.
Yes.
That's the stuff that gets you in a tornado, which
And
is
that's
why you're
what
supposed
got
to
the boyfriend.
Yeah,
And the other friend.
and several other people in this movie.
Totally.
Why didn't they get on the ground? Like seriously, all I could keep thinking was I'm remembering tornado drills as a child, and I'm pretty sure you're supposed to just lay down. And I know it's the beginning of the movie and it has to be dramatic and I'm overthinking it, but it was bothering me.
You at the very least need to get out of the vehicle because the vehicle is going to go bye-bye.
That thing
You're
can
in the
go.
direct path of that fucking thing. So I think that is like the least bad option. It's a bad option, but what else are you going to do? At the very least, you can grab onto something.
Yeah, but that whole sequence. So the girl that got hit by the debris is Kiernan Shipka. She's one of those up and coming actresses. She was on Mad Men. She was on, I think, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or she was always one of those people that plays the younger version of someone else. And she's been in a lot of movies lately. And she's definitely somebody I've heard of. So I saw her on screen. I'm like, oh, she's going to be in this movie. I didn't expect her to get killed off in the first 10 minutes.
No, I didn't really expect a whole lot of people to die, period. But, it's this kind of a movie. It is dangerous. So, I mean, sure.
And then, of course, we jump to 5 years later where she is now working a safe and cozy job in New York City at the National Weather Service.
Yeah.
And you can tell she is still processing trauma because she is very relaxed.
She's basically she's gotten as far away physically as possible. She's at a big girl job, for lack of a better term. And she's using her smarts and using her instincts that she developed when she was a teenager up until, everything kind of went south for her. And she's very much withdrawn from, you could even say society. You could say from her family for sure. It's very likely that she hasn't talked to Javi since maybe the funerals.
Yeah, when they reconnect, it's clear that she is surprised to see him
Totally.
and doesn't really want to get into it. Like, he tries to bring it up, and she's like, okay, bye. I'm not talking about my trauma.
This character likes to just run away.
Yeah, she's a runner. She used to run towards the danger, and now she's afraid of the danger. And I liked this element of the movie where, unlike the first one, which is clearly, there are really great characters in it, it is more about the chase. Like, it is one night and it's tornado after tornado after tornado. This one is over several days, so we get a lot more time to spend with her and these people, and there's more of an emotional core that we're going on a journey with her.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie about her and her journey here. And not only is it a lot about her, it is also about, like, really the elephant in the room here is just how prevalent all this bad weather has gotten. And I mentioned in the intro that one of the only negative things I heard about this movie was the fact that nobody in the movie said the term climate change or anything having to do with global warming and all those terms. But really, they do talk about it. There's multiple people in this movie that talk about, fucking floods and tornadoes are bad. The storms are more frequent.
And worse.
They are talking about it, but you just don't need to say the word.
No, you are not here for a lecture. It's not that kind of movie. They spend so much time talking about how can we help people who this affects? They actually like turn it and make it more about helping the people that are being affected by all of this weather.
Whatever it is here. We need to be able to deal with it, and we can't just put our head in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
So that element is here. It's just not like pointed out and saying, we need to do something about global warming. No, we need to save the people who are currently living right now.
Yeah.
We need to help them. The big crusade that the main character is on here is one that I don't really know where she picked it up in the first place, because in the original movie, Jo had her dad killed over this tornado, and they had basically no warning. And her crusade is to try to create an earlier warning system so that when tornadoes happen, and they're just going to happen, especially in this part of the country, when they happen, you can get more time to get to safety. I don't know if they go into here, I don't think they do, what really got Kate into this.
It's not really a crusade for her. Like, it's a passion. Like, growing up, they talk about when she was a kid, she was fascinated by the weather and she had great instincts, and she made this middle school science fair project that, of course, she won, that is creating a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something she's always been interested in, like how some kids wake up and they're like, I'm going to be a meteorologist. I'm going to go study dinosaurs. I'm going to be this. Some kids just know, and they stand by that and they do it. This movie is more about the terrible thing that happens to her, and she gets so scared of it that she has to separate herself from it. And she's clearly not doing the things she loves in the same way anymore.
No, and I think right here is where you've got it. All of that knowledge, all those instincts are still inside of her, and she is stifling them down because she doesn't want to confront the trauma that caused her to go away in the first place.
And she doesn't want more people around her to be hurt in the pursuit of this.
If she gets it wrong. That's the thing. She's blaming herself. They don't really talk about it, but she's blaming herself. If she got it right the first time, maybe they would have been able to stop that tornado and their friends would still be alive.
It's survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
That's come up a few times recently, Trent. It's just you survived and no one else did. So you would rather just not try anymore
and stop living
than risk other people's lives.
Yeah.
So the movie is more about her facing her fears and facing all of those things that she has been afraid of and overcoming it to, one, see if it works, just because she never actually confirmed if it works or not.
Yeah, she didn't get to science it out.
Her hypothesis, no. And then, of course, just finding herself again, because she's so different as the movie progresses.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the movie, she's so happy. Even when we get that footage of them in the barn later, she's so fucking happy.
She's a kid.
Yeah, she's basically a teenager here.
Yeah, she's kind of the kid in the candy store where she's just like, everybody get up, it's Christmas. You know, that kid.
Right.
There's a storm, we gotta go. Wake up, let's go. Dancing and, high
It's storm day, yay. Oh, Betsy. Well, we could keep on talking about her, but no, we need to move on and start talking about Glenn Powell. But first, we're going to take a break from a word from our sponsor.
Patreon.com/neverseenapod. 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 Hi, we're Betsy and Trent, the incredibly beautiful and talented hosts of Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent. Due to a factory error, we are now overstocked on podcasts, and we are passing this deal on to you. For the low, low price of $5 a month, you can get Never Seen It Movie Club, Real Love, Box Set, The Wayback Machine, and so much more. So come on down to patreon.com/neverseenapod and claim these amazing deals today.
So Glenn Powell is going to have a really good career, isn't he?
That's right. That is exactly right, Trent. It's that thing.
What a charming motherfucker.
It is that thing that sometimes happens with certain actors where all of the stars align all at once. And he's just kind of had the last 2 years, movie after movie after movie come out. And it leads to the next movie, which leads to the next movie. And now it's the summer of Glenn Powell.
And we keep on hearing about things that he's going to be cast in that are going to be coming out over the next 5 years.
I saw a reel earlier today where this guy was pretending to be a studio exec. And he's like, give me a pitch. What's the movie? And they basically, whatever it is, they're like, who are you thinking for the movie? Glenn Powell. It doesn't matter what it is. A remake of The Wizard of Oz, but they're all Glenn Powell. It is just absolutely stupid.
Before we move on from Wizard of Oz, Betsy, we have to talk about that little thing.
We will come back to that. I want to talk about Glenn Powell right now.
Okay, fine.
But that's the thing right now. There are people who are just like, who is this man and where did he come from? Because they've been living under a rock for years. Like, we just, over on another Patreon show, watched Set It Up not that long ago, which came out like 5-6 years ago, which you had never seen. But even that many years ago, he had it. He had that little spark, that charm. And now we get to see him in the lead in this big summer blockbuster. And he's got that big fucking grin. And it's just like, yeah, here he is. That's the guy.
Yeah. And okay, I want to talk a little bit about him as a person
His
here.
character.
Well, not even just him. Or at least the aura that he kind of gives off.
The
because
vibe.
I feel like this guy is not giving off the same kind of leading man energy. And even like, you can even call him a sex symbol, but there's I haven't seen anything that he's been in, or at least referencing to the fact that he's like this like lady killer or guy who is gonna be a womanizing asshole or guy who's gonna take advantage of a situation or just anything negative that you think about when it comes to a very, very handsome man like this. He's very clean.
He strikes me as more like the Henry Cavill type, where you were kind of a dork growing up, huh?
Exactly.
And then you got hot and you didn't know what to do with that.
So you just kept on being who you are.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. All the stuff that is coming out about him adopting a dog from the set of this fucking movie.
Hot brisket.
Totally.
The little dog that could. Yeah, he's like on the press tour with this tiny dog. And that's the other thing. He looks like a guy, most guys, they're like, I want like a big dog. I want like a cool, tough dog. And he got this teeny little puppy. And it's so cute and not what you expect. And there's other things, like I pointed out in the movie when they're at the rodeo, the two people sitting immediately behind him are his real life parents. They are extras in this movie. And if you've seen any footage of them on the red carpet, he keeps inviting them to events. Like they have at the Hitman premiere, they had matching jackets, one that said Hit Mom and Hit Dad. And they just like followed him around with like protest signs like Glenn Powell isn't that good. And it's like, if you know that about his parents, you have to be able to extrapolate that extends to this guy.
Yeah. The word that I'm really coming up with here is wholesome. He's not like squeaky clean. He's still going to be out there being hot and probably take a shirt off at one point. Fine.
Yeah, he can bring the sex appeal.
Yeah, you got him in a fucking wet t-shirt with his cowboy hat on and his tight jeans on coming out of the house.
Repeatedly.
Right.
Repeatedly. He is often wet in this movie.
Yes. But yeah, he's wholesome. You can bring a guy like that home to your mom.
But I also, as far as the character is concerned, like that he is unexpected. They are hillbillies from Arkansas is how they are described. When in reality, he studied meteorology and he's not as dumb as you would assume. He's actually quite smart.
But he's playing up a character for what career that he falls into. Because if you study meteorology, what could you possibly do with that kind of degree? You could do one of like three things. Be a weatherman on the television, which we know plenty of. You could work at the National Weather Service, or you can be a storm chaser. That's pretty much your career choices, at least now in 2024.
Yeah, and when you look at the two teams together, it's sort of the opposite of the first movie, where she joins the well-funded group because that's the team that Javi is on, and they all have like little matching uniforms, and they're so clean, and they're trucks with the logos on them,
and they have the best technology.
Yeah, and then the other team, they're just a bunch of fucking thrill seekers. Like, they're not really trying to learn anything. That was the thing I actually liked. It wasn't two teams of scientists competing, and it was the underdog and the well-funded team. In this movie, it is the well-funded team trying to do science and the other team that's like, can you shoot fireworks into a tornado?
Yeah, they're getting in the way, and they're talking about all of these amateur storm chasers, which is a real thing. We have a couple of groups around here where we live that are kind of infamous.
Yeah.
They compete with the fucking local weather teams around here, and I don't even know if they communicate back and forth.
If they cooperate.
Yeah, I feel like the storm chasers around here kind of thumb their nose at the local weather people. Like, they're out there getting the real shit.
Yeah.
That's their attitude.
Sometimes they report the news before the news because they aren't just limited to the storms.
No, they started out being like that, but they're like local report. They've morphed into this local reporting group, and it's weird. I don't necessarily like that part of it, but yeah, they're just a bunch of fucking dipshits who are running around chasing tornadoes and taking photos of them.
They're thrill seekers.
And putting them online, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call any of them professionals.
No. But my point is, this group that Glenn Powell is with, they are just fucking around. Like, they've got toys and gizmos, and they've got their ragtag group.
They make money doing this. You got 1 million subscribers on YouTube, you're making money.
But when you first meet them, it's like, this group is ridiculous. And you just assume, because we are looking at it from Kate's perspective, that they're just a bunch of fuck-ups fucking up my day because I am trying to do serious science business here. And I started to wonder, Trent.
You're going back to...
No. Yeah. I've said this on many a podcast. The thing I always say is being a well-funded scientist makes you the villain. And we hadn't seen this yet. But then we keep seeing Javi meeting with this suspicious-looking man in a bolo tie. And we come to find out that basically this dude is like super wealthy and he's swooping in to take advantage of people whose homes have been destroyed, like the second after it happens.
He's the real villain, Betsy. Holy shit. That is a cartoonish level of villainy here.
He was just missing his like twirly mustache. Like
right. I mean, the bolo tie and the cowboy hat is enough.
Yeah, when they're having these like clandestine meetings over here where Javi keeps saying, oh, you know, Kate, you go over there and do something else.
Just give us a few minutes over here.
My bad feelings started coming in. I was like, we haven't established who the, quote, villain of this movie is.
Yeah, and like when we get introduced to his entire team, I'm like, where the fuck is he getting all the money for this stuff?
Yeah, the evil villain behind the curtain. Yeah, she was working for the bad guys, Trent.
Yeah, and of course, thankfully, Javi comes to his senses. After the other really evil guy who has no personality says, I don't care about these people, that's where you got to put your foot down, buddy, and throw mud in his face. And thankfully, that's the worst thing that happened to him. Because, hey, I saw what happened to the other very well-funded scientists in the original movie. And yeah, he's lucky he only got the mud.
Well, I was concerned because I'm like, okay, there's only two things that can happen here. Either he's going to die, and that's just too much trauma for one girl to stand in a movie. We can't kill what's left of her team. Or he's going to see the light, come to the good side, etc. And they unfold it like gradually because, yes, this group of people has like drones and fireworks and a truck that drills into the ground to stabilize them.
I fully imagine that as a real thing that storm chasers use.
Yeah, but it's just a bunch of nonsense. It looks like they're a bunch of fools just there getting in the way for YouTube views. When in reality, they're helping the people that are being hurt. Like they go to the town immediately. They stop caring about what's going on with the tornado. And they're like, shit, it's heading towards a town. We got to go help. And they're just giving away food. And they're selling T-shirts to be able to fund the giving of food. That's what they're doing.
They're making enough money from the YouTube in and of itself that this is their way of giving back to the people who are supporting them. Because there's a whole bunch of people who come out and just watch them do their things. Yeah.
They have groupies that chase them while they're chasing tornadoes. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's also going back to the amateur storm chasers who really don't know what the hell they're doing. They're trying to piggyback off of what these guys are doing, but they've got personality. They've got a budget. They've got all the equipment to be able to do it properly.
Yeah. The only thing I maybe would like more is if we had gotten to hang out with the other individuals in the team that are with Glenn Powell. Because we kind of get a sense of who they are, but you don't spend that much time with them. And I know it's not that important in the grand scheme of things.
We didn't get that much detail in the original movie either.
I feel like you spend much more time with them, though, because we're just thrown in and it never stops. This one, the groups sort of separate more. So it's not about the team as much. It is about her. And then secondarily, it's about Tyler.
Yeah, and it's about her joining their team because they're, I don't know, more pure. Like they have a pure heart when it comes to helping the people that these tornadoes are affecting. And that really speaks to her more.
Yeah. So going back, because we touched on it and you wanted to talk about it, the Wizard of Oz thing. So when she joins up the team, they go out and Javi's plan, he was in the military and they had these, Doppler equipment? What was
fucking
this?
Lasers. Well, the original thing was lasers. I think this is more radar.
Okay.
So they're triangulating these radar signals to get a radar image super concentrated into the actual tornado itself.
So it's basically Dorothy, but instead of little sensors on the inside, it's reading it all from a triangulated sense.
Exactly.
Kind of.
They can basically see inside of it because they get so many angles of it. If they just do it straight on from a building, you're just getting one side.
Yeah.
But if you can get on all sides of it, you can see everything.
So again, new science. But the first time she goes out, she is clearly nervous. Her instincts are very rusty. She's not sure which way to go.
Yeah, to do it in the moment, she's not really doing it well.
And when she is face to face with this tornado,
she freaks out.
She freaks out. And Javi should have known this. Like, this was a big ask to get her in the car that is positioned in front of the tornado. Like, you have two other teams. You couldn't put one of them there. But of course, they all have nicknames, and it's Wizard, Scarecrow, and Lion. And of course, she is Lion. And what does she do,
also
Trent?
Tin Man. Also
Tin Man, yes. And what does she do, Trent, as Lion? There's a word that's missing there.
Yeah. She's not a coward, though.
But in that moment, she is the cowardly lion. In that moment, that is the most literal, silly thing.
It is.
In this movie. Because I'm like,
and honestly, I didn't get that point because I would not have called her a coward because, hey, she's gone through fucking trauma.
And like, it's not cowardice because she's afraid. It's because she is reliving some really difficult parts of herself. And she needs to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, and you said that, yeah, it's not very good of him to put her in this position to go after this tornado right away. It's hard enough by him plopping her in front of the entire team and saying to everybody, hey guys, I've told you about Kate. She's the shit. She's going to be here. She's going to be able to take us to the promised land, and it's going to be no effort whatsoever. That's some fucking pressure.
Yeah, that's a lot. And she hasn't done this in how long? And she doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't
been
know these
working
guys.
in an office for 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess, thankfully, Javi does come through in the end, and he realizes the error of his ways, at least a little bit at this point, and he gives her this data that their equipment has been collecting. And she had this model that she put together a long time ago based on this chemical thing, and they've got this bright idea that, okay, you need to add this other chemical to the mix, and we need to do it in a much bigger way.
They science it.
They science the shit out of it. And the final battle, the final scene here is basically them putting together a whole bunch of these chemicals and finding a huge one to test it out on. And Betsy, I would say this final scene here with this final tornado really rivals that final tornado from the first movie. I'm really impressed at how they keep my attention the entire way, even though, like, realistically, I know this tornado would not last that long, and it does look very unrealistic and very bombastic because it hits a fucking chemical refinery and it turns into a fucking fire tornado.
Yeah, Trent, I was going to say, I have two words for you. Fire tornado.
Fire tornado, which looks cool. And I'll tell you, there is a lot of chemical plants in Texas and Oklahoma.
Sure.
It is crazy how much stuff there is down there.
This sequence, they kind of escalated because all the teams kind of reconvene. They've got this grand plan. They're going to drive this chemical into the tornado and release it. And meanwhile, Javi's team shows up and it's sort of a race to finish and see who's going to get the data first. But when fire tornado comes, it's just like, shit, get out of here.
Yeah.
And they barely make it out. Then they see it's going to hit a town. So it's just like building and building and building. And then we're running through baseball fields and running into movie theaters. And the wall is being ripped off of the movie theater.
That was cool.
There were moments, Trent, you saw me. I was like leaning back in the seat with my mouth agape. And not just this sequence, like at the rodeo, same thing like in the first one at the drive-in, where it's in the dark, you don't know it's there until it's there, and then the lightning hits, and you can see the outline of the tornado, and I just went, oh! Big fucking tornado, oh my God!
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. They managed to match and in some ways surpass a lot of that action from the first one. And even though this is a lot more computer generated, they do enough practically that I was in. I was invested.
Yeah,
I believed it.
I know it's impossible to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look completely phony, which it easily could have. But like in the pool, when they have to, there's no basement and we have to get in the empty pool to stay safe. And they're like crawling on the bottom of the pool and there's vending machines falling from the sky and big trailers about to smash on them. I was invested.
And really, this is the part of the movie where we're at a crossroads where Javi finally decides, okay, what really matters here are people. We're not doing this because of just money. Like, we're out here, we can actually help people. We have resources, we have people, we have manpower, we can help people out. He's seen enough horrible shit in his time that he finally realizes, okay, no, I need to go over here and try to help some people. And this is the point where we kind of transfer over into this little town where there's a carnival going on, there's a baseball game going on, there's a whole bunch of people selling their wares on the street. So there's a whole lot of shit to be flying around. And Tyler and Kate are out there trying to yell at people to try to get inside, go inside, get out of the cars. And then all this stuff starts flying around. And finally, there's this fucking trolley car. Why does a little town like this have a trolley car system?
Our town has a trolley car.
Not on a rail. That's on a rail.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, why would you have a rail system for your trolley? In Oklahoma.
It's the one thing in the town, I guess.
Maybe.
Or in the event of a tornado for a dramatic confrontation, perhaps.
Oh, for drama. Okay, I got
for
it.
For drama.
But yeah, that thing gets...
It almost kills him.
Yeah, it gets dropped on him somewhere. They don't actually show that, do they?
It's a weird cut. It's like being blown at him and then...
in the general direction of him, and then we cut back to him, and then he's underneath something.
Like they couldn't...
That was bad.
They couldn't coordinate the stunt in such a way to show him being run over.
Yeah, and we have this...
He's too big a star now. We cannot afford to lose and damage Glenn Powell.
I suppose. But yeah, we have this rescue sequence of Javi coming back, helping people out, and this big water tower is about to fall on them. Okay, there needed to be a lot more water. If a whole huge water tower like that falls down,
I wanted you to be washed away.
No, that whole area would have been flooded immediately.
Yeah.
You know how much fucking water is on those water towers?
Upwards of 12 gallons of water.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, everybody goes into the movie theater, which I knew that this was in here because I've seen a clip from it, but man, was that not interesting, because you never see movies where action sequences take place in a place like this.
And of course, for not having a basement, they picked the place where the chairs are at least bolted to the floor.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, it's not the worst place they could be.
Yeah.
And it's not until the wall actually gets ripped off, and now you've just got the seats looking at an empty wall outside of the giant tornado where the screen should be.
Which is a great visual because this is what you're watching.
Yes.
We're in a theater watching the tornado.
Trent, we did a drive-in in the first one. We had to do a theater in this one. Listen, the local
There are no drive-ins anymore.
No, we have one. There is a local drive-in, and they are showing Twisters, and they are doing the double feature. But I don't really care about the second movie, and I am so old. I did a drive-in one time, and I was in high school. And I was so exhausted by the end of it because they don't start the movie until it gets dark. Well, this time of year, it doesn't get dark till 10 o'clock. And they did a double feature. I didn't get home till 3 a.m. I wanted to die. And I was like 15.
Right.
So when it's like, we could go see Twisters, I'd be like, okay, but we're leaving after Twisters.
Right.
I'm not staying for the double feature.
Yeah. Kate steals Glenn Powell's truck.
She borrows it.
Yeah. She drives it all the way out there and anchors herself to the thing, and it malfunctions. And you know what? She still did it. She did it. She saved everybody. She saved the world, which is exactly what her mom expected of her.
And I like how they kind of move on from it. It's a thing where they proved it worked, but they have no data to prove it worked. So now they have to go out and get funding to do more research, to do it again.
Basically, she's going to go off and say, this is what I just did. These
no
are my
one's
notes.
Gonna believe her.
Javi said everybody's going to say, no, it was the chemicals from the refinery, or it was the heat and from the fire. Something else as it approached the town caused it to completely die out.
Yeah.
But instead, you got to try again. There's got to be a Twisters 2.
When by the conventional naming means, it either has to be Too Fast, Too Twister, or we have to change the E to a 3. And now it's
This is not 3.
Twister.
This is not 3. You can't put a 3 in there.
You can if it's the third one.
It's not the third one. It's the second of this one.
It's in
Twisters.
This is called
2.
Twisters because it.
We're not getting into Fast and Furious naming conventions here.
Fine then.
All right. Let's talk about some other things here. Some other references I haven't even said yet from the first movie.
One being the red truck.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's a subtle
It is
thing,
not a red Dodge.
No.
I don't think it's a Dodge anyway.
No, but the fact he's driving around in a red truck is not a mistake.
You're right. The sniffing the dirt alternative, which is her out there with the dandelions and having that stuff fly out of her hands in the very CG way.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
No, that was also a little cheesy.
Yeah.
People constantly saying, hey, you're back, and her saying, I'm not back.
When they're back after the first initial thing, Javi says as she's going to her motel room, hey, I'm just so glad you're back. And she turns around and says, I'm not back. The same way Bill does.
Yep. Speaking of Bill Paxton's son is in this movie.
Yeah.
If you don't have that information, which I did not have, you would not even know that unless you recognize him as he's also an actor, but I've never seen him in anything.
No.
But afterwards, I was looking things up, and that is a little fun fact. He's the customer complaining at the hotel, at the desk.
The cable's out, the power's out, what's going on here? I wanted him to, if that was the case, I wanted him to have maybe a better role in this. Maybe to be not distracting, I get that.
It's there as an homage without drawing too much attention to it.
Yeah. Another reference here to the first one. Surprise! Another truck trying to run you off the road.
Yep, that did happen a few times.
That happened a couple times. We already mentioned the suck zone. And when they're at her mom's place, they have the little dinner outside, which is not the same thing as the meal scene at Aunt Meg's house. But they do reference her as a little kid getting out of the bathtub during a thunderstorm, running outside naked and motioning towards the Twister.
Yeah, which in the first one, Bill stumbles drunk and naked and chucks a bottle of whiskey into it.
Says, have a drink.
And it never hit the ground.
Yeah, that is a great reference. It's different enough, and of course she's a child, and yeah, that made me really happy.
There are just sprinklings, but that's the thing. Unless you've seen Twister as many times as you and I have, most people are not going to look at this and even observe it or remark on it. You and I have just memorized that movie.
Yes. Again, go and listen to that episode. We had such a great time recording that one. And I'll tell you this, we talked during the movie to each other when we were watching the original Twister to prepare ourselves for that episode. We talked to each other halfway through that movie. We could barely speak after that. I'm already getting kind of hoarse here.
Yeah. You know what this movie was missing? Corn. There was a surprising lack of corn in this one.
I guess, yeah. Also, Everybody in both of these movies have zero regard to people's crops. Just driving right through
drive
fields.
where you want.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's for science or YouTube.
It's for YouTube. There you go. But I only really had one other thing to bring up here, Betsy, and this is the real tragedy here. When Glenn Powell shows up at her motel room with a peace offering of pizza, she opens the door, takes the pizza, slams the door in his face, which I thought was really funny. She comes in there, puts the pizza down, opens it up. It looks delicious. Then she gets back up and goes to the door and leaves with him. What happened with your pizza?
She left the pizza.
Why did you not eat the pizza?
That was a perfectly good pizza.
That was a perfectly good
Gone
pizza
to waste.
that just went to waste. God damn it, that made me so mad.
I can see you clearly got your priorities in life
I
straight.
do, Betsy. Don't waste pizza. But really, Betsy, that's all I had to say about this movie. We could keep on talking forever about this one and the other one.
Oh, yeah.
We've now talked over 2 hours about both of these movies. And yeah, did you have anything else to talk about?
I'm in such a good mood. Like, genuinely, like I said in the beginning, this is how you do a reboot. I wish that so many filmmakers would look at this movie and go, okay, here's how they made it similar. Here's how they made it different. Here's how they made it its own thing and fun. And it's gonna make money. Like, they're already projecting, it's gonna make this much money this weekend. Is it gonna be the blockbuster of the summer? Time will tell, because we're putting this episode out not the weekend it comes out, even though we just watched it today on opening day. In a week, by the time you're listening to this, you, in the future, you
Right.
will have the numbers that I don't presently have. And I don't want another sequel, but I didn't want this movie, and look how happy I am. So I am always open for it if it is done with that spirit, if it is done well, if it is executed correctly. We haven't talked about him at all yet, but the person who directed this movie is the same guy who directed Minari. He grew up in Oklahoma. He loves this first movie. He made this entire movie on 35 millimeter film because he wanted to capture what Oklahoma is really like. This is a guy who loves this place.
It's also how the original movie was shot.
Yeah.
So it got the same kind of feel, and I totally see it.
He gives it the reverence and the love that it deserves, and it adds to the film.
There are even some camera positioning shots of like the camera outside of the big trucks that they're driving around, like looking into the vehicles, taken completely out of that other movie. And I felt like I was watching the original movie. And that's what you need to do in a reimagining, a reboot, whatever the hell you want to call this. It's not a sequel.
No, it is at 100%. I can say one thing. It is not a sequel.
Yeah. And I did have one other thought before we end this thing. Were they trying to do the kind of homage to the scene where they drive through the house at the end of the first movie by having that chicken coop scene?
Oh, probably. That was
Where
funny.
the chicken coop hits the truck and Javi says, I think I just killed a bunch of chickens. And then they go off to the side of the road and they brace themselves. And then at the end of it, a chicken just falls on.
Falls out of the sky.
Falls out of the sky onto their truck. It's just a great moment.
It's a silly, stupid
Same thing that when
But
they
it's the
drive,
same energy.
when they drive through the house, a little stuffed teddy bear gets thrown at the
Like I
windshield
said,
and squeaks.
It's about the energy. You don't have to do the same joke for it to land the same way.
Yeah.
If it has the same energy.
And that's what this movie has. So, Betsy, that is going to be the end of Twisters. I cannot believe we just had that experience. We are almost 40 years old, almost 30 years removed from the original movie, and they fucking nailed it.
I'm so happy.
I'm so happy.
I'm
about
so
this.
happy. I'm going to be buzzing about this.
All right. Before we get out of here, we want to remind everybody, if you would like to email us your thoughts about Twisters, please do so. The email address, of course, is neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Besides emails, you can also reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky. We've received a couple of messages through our social media accounts recently about some other movies we've covered. Betsy, I don't know what you're going to read here, so go right for it.
Yeah, I got a message from Blake about Natural Born Killers, which is an episode that came out a couple weeks ago.
Which, by the way, just to toot our own horn here.
This was very exciting.
Holy shit. Juliette Lewis herself,
the star
of that movie.
Natural Born Killers.
She saw our Instagram reels and shared them on her page. And that was really cool.
I was trying really, really hard to be chill about that and failing tremendously.
Betsy being our social media manager, she was she just was sitting over on the couch and she pointed her iPad at my face and it's like, look what just happened. Look at who this is. Yeah. Anyway, Blake, you're important too.
Yes, Blake. Anyway, so before that happened, Blake had reached out and he said about Natural Born Killers, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time.
Like I said in that episode, there are people out there that absolutely adore this movie and would put it near their top.
He describes it a juggernaut of sensory overload.
Yep.
I love every period, single period, second period. Easily my favorite Stone movie, unhinged performances, and the soundtrack absolutely rips. Can easily understand why someone would hate this or be turned off by it, but I love it so much.
Yeah.
When my wife and I first started dating, she wanted to see it, and I asked, "Are you sure? It's an absolute assault and incredibly violent." And she said she didn't mind. We watched the first scene and I paused it and I said, "Do you want to continue? Because this is literally the rest of the movie, every scene." And she was a trooper and finished it.
That's a great test.
That's always a scary moment when you are showing your significant other movies you love. And I'm going so far as to record it for posterity. But
we've also been married for a long time, Betsy.
So many movies that we've already watched that are by default ineligible for this podcast because you have since seen them.
Yes.
But there are many movies where I still haven't shown you because I'm not brave. I'm not brave. I'm scared because I don't want you to not like this movie. And with something like Natural Born Killers, which is so aggressive in its style.
Yeah, and that's also a movie that neither of us have seen.
No, I just mean in general, if you were somebody like Blake who loves this movie and you're trying to get someone who you are potentially going to see and be connected to the rest of your life.
What does that say about you? That is one of your favorite movies. I'm sure you had a very long explanation as to why this is your favorite movie or one of your favorite movies.
And she must not have hated the entire experience if they're still together, if they still stayed together and got married after that experience.
Pushed through.
Yeah. But it's a scary thing to introduce people to movies you love that you feel passionately about because you can't bear the idea that they're going to hate it.
Betsy, has there ever been a movie that you have shown me that you really like that I didn't like?
There's been movies that you were kind of meh about. I don't know if there's been any that you've actively disliked. I think I've been good at curating. Like I can read your temperature a little bit and I know which ones I should and shouldn't show you. There hasn't been a single thing that comes to mind where you have just been like, this movie straight up sucks.
Except The Goonies.
Okay, that wasn't the one that I feel strongly about, though. I, like you, did not see it for many, many years. I was too old for Goonies, so I don't have the reverence most people have. So
Goonies.
fuck it, I don't care.
Goonies sucks. Anyway, we should also read an email that we got from our super fan Stephanie about Wonder Woman, the final movie in our ladies-centric series of movies back in June. Stephanie said, "I like this one. I like Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. I like the old-timey setting and I like the action. I feel like that you have to approach this movie as a one-off. There should have been more comedy and the story should have been a little smoother, which is a problem with most DC movies." Yeah, by the way, we didn't like Wonder Woman.
Spoiler
Go
alert.
listen to that episode. If you watched Wonder Woman and you really liked it, I don't see what the fuck you're talking about.
I need an explanation, so please follow up.
Yes. She says, "But if you don't expect this movie to tie into the DCU, it is much better. The assistant is fantastic, and I find the side characters to be fun. They spend too much time at the beginning with her growing up, and the plot is a little unfocused. You guys compared this movie to the first Thor movie, and I just don't really like it. There are some funny moments, but I just don't really like the Thor movies except for Ragnarok. Well, you get a reprieve for that one, Stephanie, because Ragnarok is objectively the best MCU movie.
It's certainly the most fun. But yeah, I see your complaint about Thor because you either are going to be on board with the whole ride, but even just looking at the 4 Thor movies, there's 2 that are pretty good, 1 being really good, and 2 that are not so good.
Right, and the original Thor movie came out almost a decade prior to Wonder Woman, and you would think that Wonder Woman, the people who made that movie, would have learned. We're not going to get into it.
Just listen to the episode.
Listen to the episode. We talk all about it. Stephanie says, come on, Betsy. Hippolyta was basically like naming your kid Jennifer. It doesn't have to be the daughter of Ares.
In the context of Wonder Woman, it kind of implies that it was, but it again, listen to the episode.
Yeah,
There's
Betsy,
some context
has to nerd out in her classics
Betsy
major.
has a degree in classics, and I have problems with you bastardizing the mythology.
There you go. In general, this movie is entertaining and fun, as superhero movies should be. If you're willing to try another one, might I suggest Birds of Prey. Margot Robbie is brilliant, and most of the other DC movies are skippable. Anyway, love you guys from Superfan Stephanie.
See, this is what we keep coming back to as far as DC is concerned.
Yeah, it's the Suicide Squad movies and Birds of Prey.
And now I'm scared because we finally watched one and I really didn't enjoy it that much. So I'm like, okay, do I try it again or am I just going to continue to be disappointed?
So how do you choose which Suicide Squad movie to do?
Both.
Oh.
I think, unfortunately, the standing... I think the second one is supposed to be better, but I don't know if you have to see the first one to understand the second one.
It's
or
not
if it doesn't matter.
It's not a sequel, but is it? Is it a reimagining? Is it a reboot? But it's got the same actors, same characters. I don't know what the fuck you're doing, DCU.
It bothers me so much that one is called Suicide Squad and one is The Suicide Squad, and there's different things.
Right.
But they're the same people? What the hell?
I don't know if we're ever going to do those because I got burned so badly.
And also on principle, you named your movies stupidly.
Right. If you're making another one, I mean, maybe we should stop talking about this.
Stop talking.
In the Twisters episode about naming conventions of a movie of a follow-up.
Twister 3 with the
Stop with the Fast and Furious. I'm going to end this podcast now. I'm going to turn this podcast around. All right. That is going to be the end of this one, Betsy. Again, if you would like to reach out to us, so many different ways to do it. Look at all the links in every episode description. I'm not going to read them again. And if you haven't heard it by now, but the 15th time we've said patreon.com/neverseenitpod, not only can you listen to our Twister episode that came out earlier this month, but you'll have access to a full 7 months worth of content for just $5 per month.
It's some nonsense. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
By the way, 5 Wednesdays in the month of July, and we're doing something we have never done on any of our shows yet. The last time we had 5 Wednesdays, we ended up doing a talkover of the movie Kung Fury. That was really fun, a really experimental thing that we did, and it worked out perfectly. This time, Betsy, do you want to tell them what we're doing?
We're doing a documentary.
We're doing a documentary about a subject matter that Betsy and I, mostly Betsy, are really into.
Near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
There is...
This is a feel-good one.
Yeah, there is a brand new documentary out on Disney Plus about Jim Henson. Yeah. And I'm going to have feelings. I'm not going to lie. This one's going to get me in the feels.
Yeah, that one is coming out at the end of July. And of course, next week, we have a brand new episode of Never Seen It coming out. It's going to be a little weird starting in August. We're doing 2 more movies that are not in a series, and then we're actually going to start up a series in the middle of August. It's weird. Don't worry about it.
Just come with us for the ride.
It'll make sense. Next week, guess what? There's yet another brand new movie coming out the weekend right after this one.
We can't be stopped now.
We can't be stopped. Wait, Jesus, we never go to 2 brand new movies in the theater in a row. What the hell is going on with this podcast, Betsy?
It's summer, baby. It's blockbuster season. We're having fun. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. Next week, we are doing Deadpool and Wolverine. That one is going to be a much different vibe than Twisters.
Speaking of the MCU, and this time it is.
We'll
get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But next week, for Never Seen It, we're covering Deadpool and Wolverine. Come back next week for that. But until then, my name is Trent.
And my name is Betsy.
We'll catch you next week.
Bye.